What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast. I'm Alex Wojciechowski, and this is another episode 4 of my self-love journey. So on this series, what I'm doing is I'm bringing you all on my journey to develop more self-love, self-acceptance, just 100% belief in myself. And I'm hoping that along the way, you all can pick up on some things and go on the journey with me to be better so that we can all become better versions of ourselves and love ourselves more. Because I think that's what life's all about, right? I think that just being able to go about it in a way that you actually you by the end of the day can look yourself in the mirror and be like, I fucking love you, dude. I fucking love you. And on a different note, that you can say you like yourself too, because that's something that I've realized recently is just how much I've lived my life on other people's terms. My main question so far in life, I figured this out through reading a book. I'm actually currently reading it by Jim Quick. It's called Limitless. And it's all about the brain and really learning. And he talks about our main driving question I was like, I don't ask myself any questions throughout the day. Right? I was like, I don't have any questions. And then I thought about what he was saying, and your actions dictate the questions that you ask yourself, right? Subconsciously. And so I was like, God, I've been asking myself basically the question in every scenario of how can I look the best in this scenario, and also how can I make this person like me, or how can I get this person to like me, right? And so I've been living life and morphing myself into this version of myself based on what I think other people will like, and that's exhausting, right? And I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I don't necessarily even know who I am anymore. And I don't know if anybody else there can relate, but I got to that point where I look at myself in the mirror, I don't really know who I am. It's like, oh, be your authentic self, right? Everybody's like, be your authentic self. And I'm like, who is my authentic self? Who is that person? And so now I've been on that journey, and I realized that the authentic Alex is playful. He's light. He keeps it light. He likes to fuck with people. I like to mess around with people and just give some jabs. And, it's kind of like the athlete in me. You're in the locker rooms, you're always kind of fucking around with each other and doing it's the team aspect of it. And I love doing that stuff with people. I like being playful. I like being weird and letting my weird side out. I like stupid humor. That's what I'm going to try to do going forward. That's my goal here, is just to really put myself out there and be my authentic weird self and just do what I want to do, say what I want to say. And people don't like it, fuck off. That's the true nature of it. And so, yeah, it's tough though. It's been definitely really interesting realizing that. And I feel like every week I'm having different realizations and just trying to really figure out where I fit in to this whole world and how I can make the biggest impact. Because that's what this portion of my life is about, is impact. And really that's why I've kind of changed my questions. So the initial questions that I've had is how can I look the best in this scenario? And how can I get this person to like me, right? Those have been my questions leading up to this point. And now I'm trying to change them, and I'm trying to make it so that one of them is how can I live my life in a way that I'm going to love myself the most and like myself the most? Because I think that loving yourself and liking yourself are a little bit different. It's, loving yourself, it's more or less, and that's the journey I'm on as well. But liking yourself also, I think, comes down to your actions. I think they're kind of linked a little bit, but gosh, I'm trying to think of honestly where they change. But I think liking myself is just being my authentic self is more or less a way to like myself, because then I enjoy my life. I'm living, I'm having fun. I'm just being light. I'm enjoying, I'm being playful. I'm just kind of messing around and not putting so much pressure, and not just having stuff be so important. And gosh, it can be such a drag when you're going about that. And it's oh, this is so important, and I got to be doing this and that and other thing and all this shit. And all of a sudden you're just drained from the fact of not even really doing what you want to do. And so the other question that I'm trying to ask myself is how can I impact this situation or person in a positive way? So kind of changing from the question of how can I get this person to like me to how can I impact this scenario, any scenario that I walk into, this room, this person, in a positive manner. What can I do? And I think what I've learned is that when we ask better questions, I've read this in fucking 10 books. When we ask better questions, we get better answers. And so that's a key that I've been trying to do, is ask myself questions that more align with how the person I want to be, my authentic self, and what I want to do in this world. And so I'll continue updating you on how this goes. But that is very new. These are some realizations that I've had, and you're probably thinking over the course of these first 4 episodes that this guy has a lot of realizations. And yes, I am a classic person who tends to overthink scenarios, and I'm constantly trying to get better. I'm constantly trying to grow. And really some progress updates on everything is that I'm still doing my gratitude. Like, this is a huge thing in my mornings, is I'm still doing my gratitude. I'm still always looking at my manifesto or my vision board and just trying to like have emotional attachments when I do that. And those things really help me get into a great mindset for the day and just help like rewire everything. Cause like, if you're constantly envisioning what you want, who you want to be, you know, what you want for the future, it's a lot easier for it to pull us in that direction. And so I'd encourage you to do that. That's been very helpful for me. I've also been doing a lot of good stuff around acknowledging my wins at the end of the day, and really just like taking time, even when I'm just laying in bed, to just like view my day, almost like walk through it again and be like, okay, yes, you drank some water, you got some good walks in, you got a good workout in, you got some reading in, you got some great work done. You gave some good advice here. Oh yeah, you went through and you had a great check-in call with a client here, and all these amazing things that sometimes we can neglect throughout the day. And that's been huge. I've talked about that on a few episodes, and that's something that I've continued to do, and I can see the results coming. I'm in a better mindset. I'm in a more positive mindset, all these things. And I'm still struggling, right? I'm still struggling in the same breath. I'm this last like few months, I talked about it on the last episode. I think I realized how draining it is to not be my true self and to not put my true self out there. And so really trying to change that script and go in the right direction. And I've had some help from some amazing people who have been there for me and really helped me work through some of these things. Cause I think that's a huge thing is having those people in your corner who you can really draw on and be able to ask questions to, be able to bounce ideas off of. And I'm grateful to have so many supportive and amazing people in my corner. And some other things I'm doing. So other than that, just taking the pressure off myself. I don't know if I talked about this last week or not, but I put a lot of pressure on myself. If you haven't been able to realize through my podcast, through the first 40 that we've done or so here, that I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself, and I have very high standards, and like living up to those standards can be nearly impossible, which is why I don't feel adequate a lot of times. And so we're trying to take the pressure off. I'm trying to detach from these end results, from these outcomes, and just be and enjoy the process and make an impact and just be there for people and just do all the things that I enjoy doing. And so that's what we're doing. We're detaching, we're being more playful, we're having more fun, and just continuing to move the needle. And so it's funny also, last thing of this podcast. And if this is enjoyable for you, like please like, subscribe, share with a friend. If somebody can relate to this, or if somebody's going through a hard time, like maybe some of these self-love journey episodes can help them to figure out what somebody else is doing to love themselves more and figure this out, because we're all on a journey ourselves. So like, if you're enjoying this, please like, subscribe, share this with a friend, rate us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all this stuff, everywhere you can find us. We appreciate it, and it helps us just grow and helps us get this message out to everybody, or more people, which is the main reason why we do this. We want to impact more lives, want to make sure everybody gets the correct information. And for this one, I'm just hoping to help like one person, relate to one person, and have somebody take some of the things I'm doing and have them work for them in their life. So appreciate you all. Last thing is kind of funny, actually, is I was reading this also in the Limitless book by Jim Quick. Great book, by the way, so far. I'm only about 100 pages in, and it's been amazing so far. So highly recommend it. It is amazing. But the last thing is with the inner critic. So like, we all have that inner critic in our heads. It's kind of funny. I haven't honestly been like trying to focus on this because I have too many things I'm already focusing on. I'm trying to limit the amount of things I focus on, but this does pop into my head because I think it's funny. And like, I love funny shit. I love it. And so he talks about like our inner critics and how like we have just it's such a harsh message inside generally to ourselves, the things that we tell ourselves on a daily basis. And everybody knows that, right? Like we are so hard on ourselves. And he talks about trying to give that inner critic a different voice and a different name and just like kind of characterize it. And so I gave mine the name Albert just because it's kind of like Alex. And like, I think of Albert as like Albert Einstein, like kind of like I don't know. I think of Albert Einstein as like kind of a character, but I try to like go on a different level of like characterizing this like Albert Einstein, like absolutely huge glasses and just like a weird, like kind of like look to him and just like kind of almost make him like a cartoon, right? In my mind, like that voice. But the biggest thing is that changing the voice of them, like to be like just outrageous, like Alex, you'll never be good enough. You know, it's like if you like kind of like make it super duper weird and you kind of hear that when you hear something. I was doing this actually this morning where I was walking and I found myself asking, like when I walked by people, like I found myself like internally asking myself like, oh, I wonder if they, you know, thought I looked good or thought I like looked cool. Right. And when I did it, I heard myself saying, I wondered if they thought I looked cool, like just like this weird voice, like, and that's I don't know. I think of it even differently. I can't even mimic what I think of. And I started laughing because I was like, this is so stupid. And I think that can actually maybe help some of you out there where this has been something I'm not trying to do, but it's just popping in my head because I think it's funny. And it kind of helps make that voice like dull that voice a little bit because I think the voice can loom really large and make us stop us from doing certain things. And so maybe this little thing of just like changing the voice, changing the name, changing the look, like kind of putting a cartoon character look to that inner critic in your head. And gosh, this is good. This is good. Try this out. But that's a lot I got for you today. That's the update on my self-love journey, kind of what I'm doing, my progress, some different things I'm trying to do. It's all around being my authentic self this week. It's all around really trying to put that out there, which is scary. It's very scary, but it's going to lead to good stuff. I know it is. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Thanks again, everybody, for taking some time to watch or listen to this. Really appreciate you, each and every one of you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being there. Hopefully something in here helps you move forward in your journey. But with that, hope you have a good rest of your week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll be talking to you soon.